are Subway Surfers, the game that defined endless runners for a generation. With its vibrant visuals, addictive gameplay, and iconic characters like Jake and Tricky, it became a cultural phenomenon. But when Subway Surfers 2 dropped, it didn't just fail to live up to the hype, it straight up flopped. Why? Well, that's what we're diving into today. Before we talk about the sequel, let's rewind. Subway Surfers launched in 2012, and it was an instant hit. It wasn't just a game, it was a movement. With over 3 billion downloads, it became one of the most downloaded mobile games of all time. Its success wasn't just luck. It had a winning formula, simple controls, colorful graphics, and a sense of progression that kept players coming back. Plus, it was free to play, which made it accessible to everyone. But here's the thing, Subway Surfers didn't just ride the wave of mobile gaming's rise, it helped define it. It set the standard for endless runners, and its updates kept it fresh. New maps, seasonal events, and collaborations kept players engaged for years. So when Subway Surfers 2 was announced, expectations were sky high. When Subway Surfers 2 was teased, fans were excited. The original game had been around for over a decade, and people were ready for something new. But when the game finally launched, it was underwhelming. At first glance, it looked like Subway Surfers. Same characters, same style, same core gameplay. But something felt off. The magic of the original was missing, and players noticed. So, what went wrong? Let's break it down. The biggest complaint about Subway Surfers 2 was that it didn't feel like a sequel. It felt like a reskin of the original. Sure, the graphics were slightly better, and there were a few new mechanics, but it didn't push the genre forward. Players expected something revolutionary, but what they got was more of the same. And that's a death sentence for any sequel. Another major issue was the monetization. The original Subway Surfers had microtransactions, but they were optional. In Subway Surfers 2, it felt like the game was constantly pushing you to spend money. From energy systems to pay-to-win mechanics, it left a bad taste in players' mouths. Fans weren't happy. Many felt like the game prioritized profits over player experience, which is a surefire way to alienate your audience. When the original Subway Surfers came out, mobile games were simpler. Endless runners like Temple Run and Flappy Bird dominated the scene. But fast forward to today, and mobile gaming has become a powerhouse. Games like Genshin Impact and Call of Duty Mobile have raised the bar, offering console-quality experiences on your phone. Players now expect more from mobile games. They want immersive worlds, complex mechanics, and meaningful progression. Subway Surfers 2 didn't just fail to innovate, it failed to keep up with the times. In a world where mobile games are competing with consoles, a simple, endless runner just doesn't cut it anymore. One of the biggest selling points of Subway Surfers 2 was nostalgia. The game brought back familiar characters, locations, and music, hoping to tap into the love players had for the original. But nostalgia alone isn't enough to carry a game. Without a fresh take, nostalgia can feel like a cheap trick. Here's the irony. Subway Surfers 2 wasn't just competing with other games, it was competing with its own predecessor. The original Subway Surfers is still incredibly popular. It's still getting updates, events, and new content. So why would players switch to a sequel that offers less innovation and more monetization? The original game had already perfected its formula. It was polished, familiar, and free of the issues that plagued the sequel. For many players, there was simply no reason to move on.